the actual Oh My God packet. So let's pretend that all you had was this packet and you were an LPN and you had just graduated from school and all you had was this packet and them videos. That would be enough for you. If you went to a good school, that's how complete this packet is. That's how much shit is in this packet. It is your study guide, beloved. So that being said, we need you to take this packet more serious than all the other pink packets you're going to get this weekend. This is what you need to lay eyes on every day, all day. I have structured it in such a way that it includes all these test plan components from the NGN test plan. So every single component on the board is in here some kind of way. Okay, babies? So you gotta know your Oh My God packet. So brand new LPN, went to a good school, got my packet, got some videos on HETV, boom, you good. Now, that being said, there's obviously more to learn than what's in this packet, but we're gonna show you how it's organized so that you get it and you kind of ignore some parts if you're from out of town and you're not actually in my class. Okay, so the first part tells you what all is up in here. The second page, this page, if you're from out of town, put ignore, like don't even pay attention to this page because this page is pretty much for my babies that's in the class. So page 2, you don't give a shit. Page 3, you give a shit. Now, for this class, your crazy ass should have had some highlighters. Do you have highlighters, babies? Let me see your highlighters. If you don't have your highlighters, I might be nice. Might be. Show us this video highlighter, honey. Hold that motherfucker up. Hi, girl. Hi. Okay, who need one? Anybody need a highlighter? Y'all good? Yeah, girl. I know that's right. Which kind of yellow? You want the yellow to match my nail polish on my pinky finger? Or do you want lemon yellow? Or do you want mustard yellow? I mean, yellow is not just yellow.
Not a dull moment.
Okay, girl. Okay, so now if you look at page 3, the one thing I need everybody to highlight is number 3 on page 3. If you can follow this instruction, your ass 85 and out on this test. Now, the instruction says, for those of you who are challenged, or it's too early, or I made you throw out your coffee, or whatever the fuck it was. Okay, here we go. Number 3, mastery. Do miniature quizzes of 5 to 25 questions all day, every day in the same subject until you master that subject. Now, you're going to highlight that whole thing, but I'm finna tell you what I'm talking about right now. So, up here is a packet for every subject that there is a video on. You may or may not have this if you are just coming to boot camp, and that's not a big deal. If you don't have it, then you have to improvise the way I did back in college. And go get that. I'll show you what you need to buy. So if you don't have all these subjects up here, like every single subject for every single thing that there's a video for, you're gonna need about 4 or 5 of these. And these are your 5 subject notebooks. Now on Sunday, somebody's gonna win the whole thing. They're gonna win all of these. They're gonna win all their school supplies, all the colored pens, all the highlighters, all the note cards, everything on Sunday. But if you don't have the package, then you go ahead and you get the notebooks, because in each tab that I have in here It's 5 subjects. Each tab is a new subject. Y'all feeling me on that? Okay, and then you have an order to do it in. So that is 1 subject at a time until you get to master it. Now, what you need to master it, we're going to show you, because each person in here is very different. And what you need to master this subject is very different for each of you, okay? Now, the next part says, for example, because some of y'all think that all you, and some of the ones in my class be acting crazy. Some of y'all think all you got to do is 5 questions a day. Bullshit. Yeah, I'm talking to you in my class. Y'all, not the new people, the old people. Okay, so this is what I'm saying you should be doing. For example, do a mini quiz in the morning. Like you wake up to 5 questions in your bed before you get out. Okay, next, you do another after lunch or at lunch, at your lunch break. You do some more around dinner. You do 1 more before bed. That's how you're doing them all day long. You in your car, in the Popeyes chicken line. That's 2 hours right there. You could have had 10 tests done. They ain't never going no faster than 2 hours. You know this. Okay, you in the bank. It's crowded. It's a holiday, whatever. You in the bank. You just waiting in line. Got to get your money for your holiday. And you need to go and do them questions. Quit looking at people. You ain't got nothing to do with them people. Go on, do your little questions. Okay, now, you are in the pediatrician office waiting for Baby and Shay Shay to get their physicals. You doing questions. Baby, Shay Shay, shut the fuck up. Mommy doing questions. Okay, ain't nobody got time for you today. Get your little shots and we're getting out of here. Okay, now. So you basically are doing questions all the damn time, okay? There's no limit to how ridiculous it could go. Okay, now, then you see it says, then you do a final exam of how many questions? 85. Okay, make sure you highlighted that, all of that, right? Because you're going to forget later, baby. You're going to do 85 questions. And here's why I chose 85, beloved. Because number 1, the software that you're going to buy is UWorld RN. And look what I wrote. Even if you are an LPN, you're buying UWorld RN. Most of you will need a good 90 days. You buy that UWorld RN 90 days worth, you're going to see that the highest number of questions, unless you do an assessment, is 85 questions. Those of you who've been in my class a minute, raise your hand. How many people come up here, pass a test, and 85 questions? Almost everyone. So when you do my class and you do it the way it's supposed to be done, your ass gonna be 85 and the fuck out. Okay, so this is why we're trying to get you used to feeling how that feel, you know, what that feel like. Okay, so this is what we're doing now. But during the day, when you're just doing your subject by subject, you're just doing what? 5 questions, maybe 10 because you extra. But my ass, I just do 5, okay? So you're doing your little 85 questions in that same subject. Let's say what the subject would be. It would be psych if you're doing it per my plan. If you're doing your first subject that we allow you to do, it's always going to be psych. And that is one of your, there it goes, NGN test plan components. And it's the one thing that English second language, they don't do well in. And also a lot of people just don't understand it. I hated it, for example. When I did my clinicals, I hated it. When I learned it in class, I hated it. I don't like tutoring the shit. I hate it. So when it comes to psych, you're doing 5 questions all day long. You suddenly got a score that I told you you needed to master. And when you mastered it, stop. Quit doing the damn questions. Now you got to do 85. If you at work and you can't do the 85, like you working all day, okay, fine, do some more psych. But as soon as you get your ass home and can do 85, you need to do the 85. Now that is called a final. Notice what I wrote. It's a final exam. That's it. It's like you're doing quizzes all week and you hit it up with that final and boom, you're done with that subject. Move on to the next one. Okay, so this mastery score, once it's obtained, you move to the next subject, and it say follow the subjects in order on page 24. So turn to page 24 so I could just show you what order you're supposed to do this shit in. So you can see that there's a strategy. You're not just doing boo-boo to fool you. No, you doing a strategy on here. You trying to get through this. You're trying to get to the point where you know you have a system. You did this, now it's this next. Now you're done with that, now it's this next. And I do it the way I did it for a reason. One of the ways I strategized this is I gave you the very hardest subject first, and then I followed it with a super easy one. And then I swung back around and gave you something that every nurse should know, which is number 3. And then I went on ahead and gave you another easy one. Okay, so you will see there is a strategy. All right, so psych is always first, but it's psych and psych meds. It's not just psych. It's psych and psych meds. So when you have your U-World, you're not just clicking on mental health. Oh, hell no. You clicking on mental health and psych meds. Those two always go together. Now, remember this, everyone. And if I were you, I'd put a love letter right there by psych meds. I put a little note in there. Remember, when it comes to psych meds, 75% of all the medications on NCLEX are psych meds. The rest of them are cardiac. Okay? So get your life together. Now, if you're finished with your psych, you move on to renal and on and on and on. Notice the bottom of the page, please. Please take your highlighter and make sure you know that the bottom of the page is the NCLEX test plan. That's what the fuck it is. That's what the bottom of that page is. It's this board over here. The NGN NCLEX test plan. It's kind of like if your teacher give you a final, you want a study guide. This what the fuck the study guide is. A test plan is the study guide for the NCLEX. And this be on y'all's CPR report if you ever failed. And it just blows my mind how many people don't know what none of this means. So we're going over this today, okay? So don't worry, we got you. But that's the test plan at the bottom. So when you're done with subject by subject by subject, you making sure you hone in on that test plan. Okay, now I want you to go back to page 3 where you highlighted the holy hookup. And the number 3 was the most important, but you just need to make sure that you remember to read the rest of the stuff on this page because it will get you all the way together because there's several different types of people in here. In my class right now is the church bumblebee. A church bumblebee is you making the chicken for the chicken sale, you making sure that you run the daycare at the church, you in charge of the Hello People ministry. You doing too damn much. And God will forgive you, but pull the fuck back. Okay, that's the church bumblebee. The next one is she's the oldest. That means that even if you're not the oldest by age, you the oldest by maturity, and you the king of your family. So you got to make sure mama eat. You got to make sure your cousin ain't in the streets. You got to make sure your sister ain't high with them kids. And you got a flavor of the month and a husband. You doing a lot, okay? So at this point, and I actually had somebody in my class I told this to, at this point, you need to be selfish. Stop fucking with everybody. Stop worrying about everybody. Mama will eat. You ain't gonna starve her. You just ain't cooking. Okay? Let them other little siblings step up to the fucking plate. Okay? Stop doing too much. You gotta be selfish to get this done. Okay? The next one of y'all, like I was back in the day, is sleeping with the enemy. This motherfucker ain't shit. He drive your car. He in your motherfucking house. Or it could be a she, because she's ain't shit too, okay? I mean, you know, she want to fuss and fight and argue and all this. I mean, it's just always some drama, shit. God forbid they lay hands on you, because that's what I was dealing with. But if that's you, you're going to have to figure out how to get your shit together. And you want to get your shit together, let me help you with this financially. Before you become a nurse, because when you are a nurse, you're the nurse with the purse. And when you're Hank with the bank on the male side, or the nurse with the purse on the female side, you about to be paying alimony because you make a lot. Okay, so if you want to stay with these broke, crazy ass people that you sleeping with the enemy on, then you're gonna be paying them when you finally do break up with them and wake the fuck up. Okay, so you know, selling drugs, all that counts. Okay, you know, you got the gangbanging, all this. You like roughnecks and shit. That shit gonna get good and fucking old. Okay, just been there, done that. T-shirt sunvisor. One of them stole my car. I ain't lying. One of them stole my damn car. Oh, child, stole my Lexus right off the motherfucking parking lots. Been there, done that. T-shirt sunvisor. So I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is for you. This shit over here is for you. Now, we're going to go to page 4, beloved. Now, if you were in my class, page 4 would be the checklist that you bring me every week so I can check your crazy ass off. And you would show me when you bring me this checklist, because you're in my class, not this part, but you in the regular class. Let's say that, what I say was first, psych. Okay, so you would bring me your packet and this checklist, and I would check this packet for every note I know I said in that video. Because there's certain things I said in the video that are on your test, and I can guarantee you they're going to be on your test. And so I'm looking on here to see all the way through the packet, every page of this. I'm looking at your eating disorders. I'm looking at your OCD. I'm looking at that schizophrenia. I'm looking at that bipolar. I'm looking at that the cocaine and alcohol withdrawal. I'm looking at all these pages to make sure you really got it down. I'm looking at your personality disorders. I'm looking at everything, suicidal ideation, everything that's in here. I'm trying to make sure you took good notes, because it's never just been about questions. Some of you are in here right now because all you did was questions and you ain't do no content. This is your content. So this is what I'm checking this. So you not in my class, you got to do this for yourself at the house. You got your little folder, your little notebook. You got them videos. Once you watch the videos, do some questions in it. Once you master those questions, you need to put the date on this line and check it on off, because you done. This is in alphabetical order, which makes it very different from page 24, which tells you what order to do it in. This is an easy checklist of what you got left. This is what you need. This is why everybody stand up here 85 and up. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Okay, now turn to page 5. Everybody is different, beloved. If you have never taken this test before, and this is where your highlighter is going to come in handy again. If you never took this test before in your ever loving life, you are a first-time test taker under number 2. Now, whether or not you're the RN or the LPN, I don't know, but you know, so highlight which one applies if you've never taken the test before. Now, if you have taken the test before, or here's a big or you were born outside of the United States, then you're going to check off the repeat. And that's because the English second language student has such a high failure rate. So you're going to check off the repeat. So I got a question. Repeat RNs, what score do you need? 85. So highlight the whole thing. Just go all the way across the page, because once you highlight something in my class, I know you understand it. Okay, and I know when you get home, you have a reference point, so you're not looking cross-eyed. Okay, now what about my babies, my LPNs? What y'all need if this your repeat? 75. Okay, 75%. So you remember them little quizzes you doing every day, you striving to get that score, ain't that right? Okay, and then once you get that score, stop. Don't do another 15. What is your problem? Stop it. Go on and do that 85 and get it off your list, because your world is going to expire on your ass if you keep playing. So you need to move on to the next subject, okay? Now, part of what you're doing is you're watching, let's say you leave here this weekend and you start your process on Monday. You got your psych, maybe you got the packet, maybe you got the notebook, I don't know. But what you got is is psych and psych meds. So you go home, you pull up your little HETV, you pull up the playlist, you go down the playlist, you pull up the psych videos. Watch a video, do 5 questions. Watch another video, do 5 more. Watch a third video, do 5 more. That's how you're doing this. Okay, so you have an awareness of what's going on psych. It's a lot about psych. It's a pain in your ass. Okay, all right, so you got that. Now, that is pretty much the part that doesn't have anything to do with an NCLEX exam. Everything else in this packet is your NCLEX exam. So your job, beloved, is to start studying page 6 all the way through. Every day, all day, you look at something in this packet. That is my warning to you pretty little babies. You start with page 6, and we're gonna go through this very thoroughly. So you're gonna know some shit when you leave up out of here, just even today. Okay, so we're gonna start at page 6, and we're gonna creepy crawl all the way through. We're gonna do our shit. Boom.